Hey YouTube, Brio here. I actually ended up getting into an interesting discussion with a few people, and well, I'll just come right out and say I was hanging out with several of my female friends, and we ended up getting on to the discussion of, you know, how guys rate women, you know, and the reason why they bring that sort of shit up around me is because I'm honest about it. I make sure to let them know that, you know, it's like, look, this is just my take on this. Not every guy is the same. But the thing is I've known enough guys, I've talked with enough guys to, you know, get a general idea of what's going on, at least in my area. But we were talking about it, and they, for some odd reason, thought that guys only judged women off of how pretty their face is, how big their tits are, how big their ass is, and how wide their hips are. They actually thought that that's all that guys judged in those flash decisions or in the rating game. And I looked at them and I couldn't help it. I actually physically started laughing when they said this. Because I was all like, do you want to know what my criteria is? I mean, we know that I'm not your typical guy. I tend to think more in depth on this sort of shit. But the thing is I know that there are other guys that actually have at least similar criteria to mine. Maybe not quite as detailed. Some even have more detailed criteria. And they said, yeah, sure. And then they, for some odd reason, had to come out and say, no judgment. I'm like, I don't give a fuck if you judge me. It's all like, if you judge me, then that's your fucking thing. If you want to stop hanging out, all right, cool. One less number in my phone that I got to deal with. But so I started going into it. I asked them, well, where do you want me to start? And they kind of looked at me puzzled. I'm all like, well, do you want me to start with the physical attributes, or do you want me to start with the personality attributes? And it looked like they got hit by an intellectual Mack truck when I asked that question. It was like they didn't even have the programming to predict that could even be a thing for a guy to say. So they said, and of course, all right, we'll start with the physical attributes. Typical. All right, fine. I was all like, well, for me, there's multiple attributes. You've got hair, face, teeth, symmetry. Then you've also got, you know, of course, you know, breast size, but then also breast shape. Then you've got midriff as well as back. Then also, you know, ass, tit to ass ratio. Then you've also got thighs, and calves. Feet, I don't care about. Honestly, I think feet are gross, just period. That's me, though. I'm not a fan of feet. I'm all like, and then you have the optional one of thigh gap, which kind of ties into thighs. And then also hip ratio. And hip to shoulder ratio specifically. And they just looked at me, they're all like, what the And so then they started pointing to girls, they're all like, all right, what would she be? You know, I'd sit there and say, you know, 7, 9. Not a single 10 in the bunch, because no. But it was because they were pointing to different women. And I was giving the numbers for those women. Not the ones that I would particularly go after. And so then they sat there and they're like, there's no way you're judging all those things that quickly. I'm like, yes there is. All I have to do is give a once over on the person. The hardest one is the face, because there's certain attributes that you might miss. Like maybe their eyes aren't, exactly set even, or maybe they're a little too narrow, maybe they're a little too wide, Then you got eye size and all that. But this is just a general cursory look. And one of them actually kind of got this look on her face like she was ashamed of something. I'm all like, what the hell? I thought you said no judgment. She's all like, yeah, I said I wouldn't judge you. I never said that I wouldn't judge myself. And I just kind of looked at her. She's all like, there are not that many things that I judge a guy physically off of. I'm all like, okay, well, maybe you'll make up for that in the personality department when you judge that. A couple of the other girls laughed. And so we moved on to that. I'm all like, thing is as far as personality is concerned, I've actually got it condensed into 3 different categories, but there's a bunch of subcategories underneath that I'm not going to go into because we'll be here all goddamn day. Alright, fine. What are they? Sexiness, beauty, and neoteny. Sorry, for some odd reason that every once in a while that word just kind of flies out of my head and I have to go searching for it. But they looked at me, they're all like, okay, we get, sexiness being a personality thing, but beauty? I'm all like, yeah. Because the thing is beauty comes from, their poise, from, how they hold themselves. How do they act? Are they acting exceedingly childish? Are they acting snobby? So on and so forth. All that affects that beauty ranking. Oh, okay. And then one of them asked the magic question, what's neoteny? So I had to go through, give a crash course on neoteny. I might go ahead and do that on my channel just in case someone watching, doesn't know what neoteny is and they're not going to watch any MGTOW videos or any scientific videos or anything like that. So I might touch on that later. But just to give a general overview of it, not even a crash course, neoteny is the retaining of childlike features into adulthood or into maturity. And when I explained that, they kind of looked at me a little funny. They're all like, I'm all like, no, that doesn't mean that a woman that perpetually looks like a child is going to be hyper attractive. That's not what that means. What it means is there are certain traits that attract men to women that are held over from when you're a child, like a slightly rounder face, slightly larger eyes, maybe a head that's a little bit larger for the body than what's what it would be normally proportional for a man. And then but then that's going off of physical attributes, which, yes, that is there. But that's the easy stuff. That's the stuff that you can physically see. That's the stuff that you can objectively look at. What I'm talking about for neoteny, though, as far as this ranking is concerned, it more has to do with the personality. Do they have kind of a shyness to them? Do they have kind of a recessive personality, or do they have a dominant personality? If they have a dominant personality, how strong is that dominant personality? Do they know when to yield? That sort of thing. And they're all like, okay. I'm all like, it's a complex thing, but for the most part, it's basically how cute can you be? It's basically what's your cute factor. And one of the girls ended up kind of, biting the tip of her thumb, sitting there and thinking, furrowing her brow. I'm like, that right there is neoteny. Right the fuck there. I'm like, that's some of the cutest stuff. Or if a girl bites her knuckle on her index finger, from being nervous or something like that. Hell, even just, putting the hand up to the mouth. Different things. Now, I looked at them, I'm all like, if you want to know what neoteny is, go ahead and look at pop culture over in Japan. Look at how the girls act. There's your neoteny. That's one of the reasons why guys are so fascinated with Asians. It actually, like some guys, yeah, they sit there and they buy into the whole, oh, Asians are tighter. For me, that's not the thing. What it is it's the way that they act. But the thing is unfortunately, they end up at some point losing that neoteny and become what's called the dragon lady, where it's all like, all right, it's kind of like that Finding Nemo moment where they're sitting there, they're playing with the little glowy thing, they're all happy about it, and then all of a sudden they see the big fish with the jagged teeth and everything, and they just go, good feelings gone. There is a moment like that with Asian women most often than not. Usually it happens somewhere around in the 30s. But anywho, I went ahead and and they were all like, well, how do you flash judge that? I'm like, you actually have to talk with the person. That's not a flash judgment. That's a score that's constantly being added and subtracted from. And the thing is certain people are going to have different ways of weighing those things. For me, neoteny tends to be one of the biggest factors. So it is weighed more heavily than the other two. In fact, in importance, I would say that sexiness and beauty are actually equally important. But neoteny is actually more important, because the thing is if a woman is constantly sexy or a woman is constantly beautiful, there's a problem, because I'm not going to get attached all that well. At that point, that's a fuck buddy at best. What's going to attach me is that neoteny. And as soon as I said that, it was like you saw the light come on, where they're like, oh, so that's why guys have the fetishes for, like, schoolgirl uniforms and so on and so forth. I'm all like, for the most part, yeah, but the thing is, that's more of an animalistic thing. And then one of the girls brought up something. She's all like, what about guys that want to call you daddy? That want you to call them daddy? I'm all like, those motherfuckers are way, way on the neoteny side and a lot farther than me. But the thing is you're on the right track. Because the thing is at that point, like, it's not necessarily them saying, yeah, I want to have sex with my daughter. That's not it. It's a fantasy. It's just like with a woman who has a rape fantasy. Does that mean that she actually wants to legitimately be raped? No. She doesn't want to be out of control of the situation. But the fantasy is what turns her on. The actual act probably would do the exact opposite. Unless she's voluntarily there. And at that point, it's still a fantasy. She's voluntarily doing it, so she's not actually being raped at that point. And I'm sorry for the more adult nature of this video. I don't know if anyone has any problems. No one's bitched about it yet, so whatever. But just wanted to go ahead and bring up this conversation, because the thing is if there are any women viewing this, go ahead and actually, maybe talk with guys about what they want. That might actually help out with relationships. Might help you find a guy that's actually more compatible. But also at the same time, you need to be honest with yourselves. And I'm talking to both men and women here. You need to be honest with yourself. What is important to you? What categories do you judge people on most harshly? Because those are probably the ones that are most important to you. Actively knowing what's important to you is a very important thing to know. Because if you don't know that, then you don't know what you want, and so you're just taking random shots in the dark. Whereas once you know what you want, that narrows down the possibilities, yes, but you're getting rid of low quality possibilities. At least low quality possibilities in your book. Because the thing is a woman that I might, sit there and go 20 out of 10, another guy would sit there and go 3. It's very possible. So when it comes down to personal taste, it doesn't come down to sexism. It doesn't come down to objectifying the person necessarily. When it's the physical aspect, yeah, okay. But the thing is we do that as people. I don't think that there's a single person alive other than someone who's legitimately asexual that hasn't seen that one person where they're all like, oh, the things I would do. And I've heard women say the exact same fucking thing. Don't even try it. Although usually women, it ends up being, oh, the things I would have him do to me. Or the things I would let him do. Those sorts of things. But still, at the very least, it's the same general principle. It's that sexual attraction. So when it comes to the physical aspects, yes, you're objectifying someone. Is it wrong? No. Now, if you're a boss and you're sexually objectifying someone and it's affecting how you treat them at work, then it's a problem. If it's a random person going down the street and you're just all like, oh, damn. Sorry, that's not hurting anyone. They probably don't even know you exist. And actually, one of the girls sat there and said, whenever they hear something like that, they always check out of their peripheral to see if the guys are talking about them. If they are, it doesn't matter what the guy looks like. She takes it as a fucking compliment. It makes her feel sexy. It makes her feel attractive. So not everyone's against it. I don't know why there's so many people that sit there and say that these guys that sit there and, tell a woman that she's attractive, basically hitting on the woman. I don't know how that's offensive, because at that point, how are guys supposed to show their interest? Or are guys not supposed to show their interest anymore? I mean, come on, ladies, chime in on this. Are guys not supposed to show their interest anymore? Are you gonna burden yourselves with that? Because that would be fucking awesome. I'm all for that. Guys have had that burden since time immemorial. Let's go ahead and flip the script. If you want that burden, take it. Just remember, you can't get pissy when you get denied 3 times in a row because you're going after guys that are way the fuck out of your league. Because you will have a paradigm shift there where all of a sudden guys are now in the position of choosing. Because it's a dichotomy at this point. It's either you're chosen or you're the chooser. It's one of the two. There is no in between. Can the other person be attracted to you and go, that's awesome? Yeah. Are there going to be the outliers? Are there going to be those women that walk up to a guy and go, hey, sexy, how's it going? Of course there is. But that's the exception more than the rule. Now, if you make it more of the rule, ladies, you're going to end up having to change your entire worldview. And I know it seems stupid to say that, but it's the truth. Because right now, the pressure is on the guy. The guy's the one who has to lay himself out there, and you can shred that guy if you want. In fact, I've known women that do that shit to try to make themselves feel better. Like if the guy's, maybe not you know, super attractive, but not also not bad looking, average Joe, then, you know, they'll sit there and shred him like he's the most disgusting motherfucker on the fucking planet to give themselves an ego boost. Until they see him hit on another woman like 10 minutes later and get accepted. And all of a sudden, now they feel pissed off. They feel like the guy somehow betrayed them. After they've already denied the guy. After they've already completely shot him down. And I've had women sit there and go, well, that's them playing hard to get. No. There's a difference between playing hard to get and eviscerating the guy. Women keep sitting there and saying, well, they don't think of my emotions. Well, guess what? It's called returning the favor. Take a look at the dating scene. Go to a bar and people watch. Go to a bar and watch guys. Watch their body language. You can see that signal of body language of, motherfucker, I don't want to do this, when they're walking up to introduce themselves to a woman. Because they don't know what's going to fucking happen. And the thing is it's getting more and more dangerous for guys as it is. So, yeah, at this point, with the way that the laws currently are, fuck yeah, women should have to be the ones to go up and initiate that conversation. Women should have to be the ones laying themselves out there, because the fact of the matter is guys at this point are being expected to lay themselves out there so they have a possibility of a sexual harassment charge or a rape charge, or, you know, people contacting their boss going, hey, this guy was creeping down at the bar. You know, what the fuck ever. There's a lot of risk that goes into it for guys. So how about this? Ladies, do your part. You see a guy that you're attracted to, go for it. Go up and talk to him. After you've been shot down a few times, then come back to this video and try to tell me that guys have nothing to bitch about. Why don't you go ahead and try acting like a guy? Because the thing is I guarantee you, you're going to get a lot more yeses than a guy. Because with a woman, if she was to just walk up to random guys and say, hey, would you like to fuck? Now, unless you're in a really weird area, you might go 3 guys saying no and then have a guy say yes. And that's like being really conservative. All right? But if a guy does it, he averages at about 10 women. My roommate, when I lived down in Sacramento, one last story and then I'm going to go ahead and end the video. But my roommate down in Sacramento, I was sitting there, I hadn't had sex in a long time. I was kind of feeling the stress of it, you know, with school and just everything else going on in my life. And he actually ended up doing something really fucked up. You know, he said, hey, let's go on and head down to the mall. I need to buy a few things. You need to get out. Let's go. All right, fine, whatever. Took me down to the mall. He told me to wait at one of the benches. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. Yeah. I'm sitting there. I'm drinking my drink, you know, just goofing around on my phone, waiting for him to get back. And all of a sudden, he walks up with a woman. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Do not fucking tell me you're going to sit there and try to have me walk home because you found some fucking skank. And he sat there and he's all like, hey, she's interested. I'm all like, what? And he's all like, oh no, I was going around and I was asking women if they would sleep with you. Like if they would be interested. And I just looked straight at him. I'm all like, dude, I'm not like you. I don't have random sex. And the chick that was there, you know, she was really classy about it. She's all like, oh, okay. Well, thanks for your time anyway. And turned around and walked away. What the fuck? Right? But the thing is I asked him how many women he had to ask. He's all like, he told me 7. I'm all like, how in the fuck do you find these people? He's all like, all you have to do is ask. He's all like, it's actually a lot easier than most guys think. And I was sitting there and just thinking, I'm all like, wow, okay. And this is in post-modern feminism world. Are you fucking kidding me? And of course, yeah, this was a while ago. But the thing is this was after the sexual revolution and all that sort of shit. And I'm all like, women don't want to be objectified. Yet, if you have the balls to walk up and say, hey, would you sleep with me? You're going to average 1 out of 10 saying, yes, let's go? Are you fucking kidding? And then women bitch about them finding low-quality guys. It's all like, oh, sorry, you know, used goods. And now you don't know where those goods were used or how many times. Yet your prices have only gone up. No. Stop pricing yourselves out of the market. Either create scarcity, you know, actually sit there and make the guys work for it. And I'm talking about all guys, yeah, including Mr. Sexy, works out fucking 4 hours a day, you know, has nothing better to do with his fucking life. You know, bronze skin, all that sort of shit. You know who I'm fucking talking about. But the thing is, really? But the thing is, I also thought about it. I'm all like, dude, this motherfucker could have gotten us both arrested by pulling that shit. Because, I mean, honestly, imagine going up in front of a judge. What the hell were you two thinking? And me sitting there and going, he told me to come to the mall with him, that he needed to pick up some shit. I didn't realize he meant to pick up women for me, or I would have said hell no and stayed home, and I would have played my fucking video games. I would have been at home playing World of Warcraft. Like a judge is gonna fucking believe that. I mean, especially looking at me. You know, because the thing is, I've always been a little on the chunkier side. Alright, fine. But the thing is I'm not one of those guys that's always been desperate for sex. If I was one of those guys that was desperate for sex, I wouldn't have gotten chunky. If I had actually really given a shit. But, no, honestly, be honest about what you want. Be honest about what your standards are. And if you keep getting low quality people, maybe you should up your standards. And ladies, just letting you know right the fuck now. No one wants used merchandise. Period. The fact of the matter is a lot of people don't want to travel the road most traveled. They want to travel the road least traveled. So, if you're sitting there turning down quality guys that you could actually see yourself having a future with, going after Mr. Bad Boy all the way up through your 20s, then all of a sudden in your 30s, if you blurt out, "Where have all the good men gone?" They walked out of your fucking store because you priced yourself out of the market. And because you were refusing them the sale to begin with. When the price actually matched the value. And I know it seems like I'm really harsh on women. Well, yeah, I am. Welcome to equality. You got some making up to do. And if you're going to be judged on the same level as men, you got to be expected to act the same way as men. You got to be expected to think the same way as men. You have to be expected to put in as much effort as men and show as much restraint as men. So, that's what equality actually is. Equality isn't what these modern day feminists are trying to spout. No, what they're trying to spout is superiority. They're trying to give you superior rights, not equal. So, to everyone watching, short recap. Teal deer, I guess. Alright? Be honest about what you want. Once you're honest about what you want, realize what you want. then go ahead and make changes accordingly so you can find yourself a high quality partner. And on a side note, ladies, don't ride the cock carousel and then expect the same premium for a guy to come in to clean up the mess.